Well, after the unexpected promotion to the Championship last season, we now go into a summer season review transfer window thing with no money and no hope, really. We're going into this with realistic expectations. I don't think this is the season we build a team that will stay in the Championship, but hopefully we can bring in some decent enough youngsters so that when we get relegated, we can come straight back up again and hopefully be in a position to stay up next time. That's the plan anyway. Hello and welcome to part 82 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and summer transfers. And I am afraid we're going to take this one as it comes and see what happens. We have money to spend, but obviously no money in the bank, so we probably shouldn't spend it. We've got wage budget to spend, but no money in the bank, so we probably shouldn't spend it. But I am hopeful that a season in the Championship, and I'm still working on the assumption that's all we're going to get, a season in the Championship should have significant money attached to it that should fix this problem, allow us to have this summer, of bringing in a higher calibre of Premier League reject youngsters, so that when we do inevitably get relegated, then we're in a better financial position with a good young squad to come straight back up and then stay up. That's the plan. That's how we had to do it in Nuneaton last year. But you never know. We might perform miracles. Again, the amount of times we thought we were going to be in a relegation battle and have then got promoted, quite ridiculous, really. Look at the state of that. It's a story second to none apart from Chester, who Chester are still going. I think they're into the playoff final. In fact, if we have a look at League One, it is a Wigan-Chester playoff final. So there's still the chance that Chester are going to join us in the Championship last season and have their ridiculous rise as well. They were almost as low as we were. There they are in the Northern Premier League Division 1 North. That's where we were. So they were there 16 years ago. We were there about 8 years ago. The fact that we could be both arriving in the Championship together is utterly insane. It's like a story Football Manager has never told before. Right, let's do our season review stuff. Overall best 11. Matondo has made it into the overall best 11, rightly so as well. 27 goals last season, top scorer in League One. Too right, he should be in the all-time best 11. It does mean there's no place even on the bench for Mick Powell in our all-time best 11. An all-time best 11 that has Kieran Sheridan on the bench, but no Mick Powell on the bench. You lot say I pick on him. It's obviously not just me. So this is our all-time best 11 team. Humphreys in goal. Back four of Webber, Santos, Proctor and Daly Campbell. Phillips behind Benson and Fernandez in midfield. Cottrell, Harris and Stanley as our front three. And a bench of Mayle, Carter, Critchlow Noble, O'Brien, Buckley, Sheridan and Matondo. It's a good-looking team. Our all-time best 11, where are they now? Well, lots of them are still with us. Those lot are all still here. Connor Stanley, as mentioned a few episodes back, we sold to Wimbledon, and he's doing all right, playing at a League One level. Can't really fault that. That's a decent career for Connor Stanley, as with Patrick Webber, who's playing regularly in League One for Burton. So we're not having a whole bunch of players who were massively overperforming for us and have tumbled down the leagues when they left. They're staying at this kind of level. Ben Cottrell is a reserve player in League Two, which that proves me wrong. Josh Benson is playing for Torquay down in the National League, but playing a lot of football for them. So, he's carved out a decent non-league career. He was a very good non-league player. James Hayter still managing Dorchester under-23s, and the retired players, George Tanner, Manny Parry, Harrison Mayle, Hayden Carter, Critchlow Noble, O'Brien and Buckley, now all retired from football. Our end of season awards, Matondo, of course, got player of the season with 34% of the vote, followed by Gregson at right back on 29% of the vote and Dean Lloyd with 24% of the vote. I don't think we can really argue with any of those. Lerick Fernandez got goal of the season against Northampton. Do I remember this one? It happened relatively recently. Let's have a little look at it. It can't be a free kick because we had so many free kicks that were excellent. So this is one from open play. So Wearmouth plays it across, it's headed clear to McCormick, who nods it down for Fernandez, takes a couple of touches, and then on his weak foot puts it into the top corner. Yeah, I'll let him have that one. We scored a lot of good goals this season, but that was a particularly good one. Gregson, a signing of the season. I don't think we can understate the impact that Oliver Gregson's had on the team. He's a player who hadn't really played at the level we're playing at when we brought him in, but he's come in and he's the best right back in League One. Can't really argue with it. Excellent stuff from Gregson. And Matondo, at age just 19, got young player of the season. Can we get him on loan again? Nope. We might be able to once we're officially ticked over into being a championship club, but don't hold your breath. I think we are going to need a striker this summer, because no matter how much you all want me to do it, then I can't have Mick Powell starting in the championship. The club is rightly proud of having produced the likes of Lerick. Oh, they calling this a golden generation again? Lerick Fernandez, David Swinski, Anthony Harris, Mick Powell, Shane Phillips, all going down as part of a golden generation. So we do have a lot of homegrown. That's actually something to be really proud of. The fact that we've made it this far with 5 of our best players have come for our own youth team. And of course, Dean Morris as well as the one that got away. We'll check in on him shortly when we check in on all the Patreon players. So top goal scorer Matondo on 27, also highest average rating, also most assists, joint with McCormick and Lloyd. McCormick got best pass completion, and Matondo's just won everything. And this is our team of the year. Humphreys in goal, back forward Wearmouth, Proctor, Wright and Gregson, McCormick, Sawinski and Fernandez in midfield, Lloyd in behind Harris and Matondo. It was the team we played for the first half of the season. Obviously, as the season went on, Shane Phillips became a very important part of it, as did Vujicic at the back, and I would argue both of those should probably be in the team of the year. And so our season review, we obviously overperformed. That's our 2019 team. Where are they now? They're all in non-league, mostly. Although, let's check in on Dean Morris as part of checking in on the golden generation. 15 caps for England now. He is wanted by Leicester. That's not really the next move I was hoping for Dean Morris. I was hoping he would go on to be a Champions League superstar. Maybe, in actual fact, he's just a very good sort of mid-table Premier League midfielder, which is still not bad for a conference, well, not even conference, Northern Premier League Division 1 East. For that team to create that player, I still think that's pretty impressive. But it looks like age 24 now. Although he has played for England, but not recently. He didn't play for England at all last season. So, I don't know, maybe his development has stalled slightly. We'll keep checking in on him, and obviously checking in on his age as well, and see him when we get to the Premier League, and they all come home eventually. They all come home. He will be back one day, even if it's as a 35-year-old for one season. Dynamics-wise, our team leaders are Powell, Harris and Fernandez, all homegrown. What a lovely situation to be in. I've never had a situation like this before in 25 years playing Football Manager. I love this club. It's brilliant. End of season team meeting. Obviously, we're going to try and survive, but it is going to be a seriously tall order. You've all done brilliant to get promoted. We'll come back, even though we'll probably come back down. I'm going to give us the best chance of avoiding relegation by bringing in some new faces. I think I'm going to say that. I'm going to be honest with them. Yeah, I think that is exactly where we are. They all know how it is. I need to prepare them. Shane Phillips isn't happy. I need to prepare them for we're probably going to get relegated, but we'll try not to. But let's not get too downhearted if we do. I don't want heads to drop too early on. So that's the first team. If we have a look at Patreon players, obviously there are a few of them in and around that first team squad. If we have a look at just the first team squad, sort them by ability. David Sawinski obviously is one of our Patreon players who we check in with all the time, as is Lerick Fernandez. Have we got any more of our Patreon boys in the first team squad? I don't think we do. Let's drop down to the under 23s to see how people are developing down here. Drew Whalen, is he a Patreon or is he... No, he's real. Tony Robertson, are you a Patreon player? No, you're real. I'm not going to try and guess. I'm going to let people pick themselves out if they can see themselves. I know Josh Mann is definitely a Patreon player. He's one of the new ones who's been taken as part of the most recent intake. We had some good youth come through in our most recent update, so we need to keep an eye on Josh Mann. He might end up forcing us to start playing with wingers again. Lucas Hauer is another one who is a Patreon player from a few years back. He's still around and about the place. And there's quite a few there that I'm recognising. So just pick yourself out. If you can see yourself, you can get an idea of how close you are to being a first team player. And if we have a look at the under 18s as well, If you are a Patreon person, you can't see yourself anywhere in either of these teams, then that means you are eligible for a new player when we get the next youth intake through. So keep an eye on Patreon for when that updates. Patreon.com/LOLLUJO. Right, let's I don't even know. I don't even have a plan for this summer. I think all we can do is get to the 1st of July, hope that we don't sell any of our good players before then. Hold on, squad. Who have we got who we might end up selling involuntarily? No, wrong end. Sorted by ability, but good ability. So it would be nice to try. Ross Wright, it looks like he's out of contract. So Ross Wright, Mark Wearmouth, I think, are both out of contract. So it'd be nice to try and sign them permanently. Sawinski's already here on loan next season. Matondo's we've already been told we can't have him. No one else who I'd be worried about losing is wanted by anybody. So it is just a case of try and permanentise as many of these as possible, and then see what we can do with free transfers. It's going to be a challenging summer, I think. Well, they're not coming with us this time, but I'm sure they'll be back next time around. Obviously, Wigan, another former non-league team, but I guess that's, well, yeah, that doesn't show up on their 20-year history anymore. They look like a team in huge decline. But yeah, Chester they'll be joining us soon. We don't always go up together. Oh, look at all that money. That's just from being in League One. Imagine how much money we're going to get for being in the Championship. It makes almost no difference. We're so skint. Although not going to be losing money quite as quickly as we have done previously, presumably because of the promotion to the Championship. So it would be very nice if we could figure out a way to stay up there. I'm still just waiting for the 1st of July, though. There's literally nothing I can do. I've had a look at some of the other Championship teams, and it's terrifying how much money they've got to spend. I've just got a Steam achievement called Legend. What's that for? Manager of the Year a certain number of times, presumably. So that was our highest ever league position. We knew that. Matondo, top goal scorer. So let's give him a pat on the head. Good work, sir. I win Manager of the Year. How many times have I won Manager of the Year now? I assume that's what that Steam achievement was. So if we have a look at awards, it's going to have all the monthly ones as well, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4 times I've won Manager of... No, 1, 2, 3 Manager of the Year awards. Is that right? I don't know. Whatever the reason, I've got that. So that's very splendid. We have players in the Team of the Year as well. Humphreys, Wearmouth and Wright all made it into the Team of the Year. Unbelievably, Matondo didn't. And we've got a former player going to the African Nations Cup, which is mad. On the subject of legends, some people have asked to see this screen. I do show it occasionally, but this is our legends and favoured personnel and whatnot. So obviously I'm the only club legend. Icons: Buckley, Powell, Colley, Webber and Stanley. Favoured personnel: Matondo, Critchlow Noble and Anthony Harris. Club records, the majority of them are still held by the people who held them before. So Tony Robertson is our highest transfer fee paid. He's going to go down as a bit of a waste of money, isn't he? Because we played one game, we spent 30 grand on it. That's why I don't want to be spending money. Alex Carmichael's still our record sale, so we should probably check in on him actually, because he didn't stay with us on loan in the end. Came in on loan, didn't play. He still only played one game in his career. I worry about Alex Carmichael a little bit. He's full of potential, but never seems to get an opportunity to play. Mick Powell, still top league goal scorer, 169 goals, and I think most appearances as well. 331 appearances for Mick Powell. Shane Phillips isn't far behind. He's over 300 appearances now as well. But there's all the club records if you want to nose through those. Now let's continue waiting for the 1st of July. Wow. Once again wishing we had some kind of sell-on for him. That is absolutely insane. I don't know who he is. Apparently he's one of our scouts. We have sorted our first 2 transfers of the summer. They're not officially in yet because they're end of contract ones. But Ross Wright, Mark Wearmouth, both joining us permanently in the summer. Which is, they're big transfers. They were very important players for us last season. They're obviously not improving the team because they were just a part of the team. And those plus promotion wage rises plus contract renewals. Anthony Harris is now on £6,000 a week, for example. We're now close to maxed out our wage budget, which is a problem because we still haven't replaced Matondo. And once we've replaced Matondo, I don't think we can replace Matondo for the money that we've got. And then if we manage to find a way to do that, we still haven't actually improved the team at all. We're probably going to be going into next season with the same squad we've ended this season with, minus Matondo, our best player. We might just do one episode next season, just a summary at the end, just to show what a mess it was, and come back when we're back in League One. I don't know if I can handle the humiliation of doing 7 or 8 episodes of just getting beaten 8-0 every week. This kind of says it all, really. Bearing in mind we're now a championship club, but this was the League One sponsorship table. League One clubs generated £15.5 million from sponsorship. Hull, who got relegated, Hull finished bottom of League One. They got £4.3 million of sponsor money last season. We got £50,000. The average was £650,000. We have no money coming in, but we have had a raise in stature. So, does that mean we can now try and extend Matondo's loan? Are we now classed as a big enough club to be able to get him on loan for another season? No. We still haven't ticked over into being a championship club yet, so fingers crossed. Tom Heaton, by the way, who did so brilliantly as my director of football last summer, bringing in Matondo and a couple of others like Wearmouth, like Wright, has really showed himself to be a bit of a buffoon to start this transfer window off. I've not even bothered showing him to you. He made an offer for a 28-year-old left-back from Boreham Wood on a permanent deal who wouldn't even be our backup. He's not as good as Wearmouth or Palyk. Obviously, I withdrew it immediately. I don't let him do permanent transfers anyway, but I always have a little look to see if they're any good. And, if scout them, we might end up deciding to go for them ourselves. But can I show you this guy? Is he still on there? No, because I cancelled him because he was that useless. Oh, we've got Connor Stanley appearance money that we can take. Yes, we'll take any money we can get. How do we... Oh, we can't sell it. Oh, we can't sell it because before the season expectations have been set. Fair enough. Right, we are now a championship club. So we're going to... Oh, look at all that money we're going to get this season. Does it show yet? No. Does it show on here? No. But that is a significant increase in money over what we've had this season. Right, here we go. Season expectations. So attempt to avoid relegation. Does it make any difference to do any of these? Not really. So we're just going to keep it at that. That way, when we do inevitably get relegated, I shouldn't be sacked. And now we should be able to sell Connor Stanley's clause. There we go. That brings in a little bit of cash, which is always helpful. And there we go. We've got £5,000, well, nearly £6,000 a week to spend on wages. A little bit of transfer budget, which if we put all that into wage budget, gives us another £2,000. So we've got potentially like £7,000 a week to spend on wages. We need a new Matondo. In fact, we'll try again now that we're a championship club. We'll just keep trying. So we're in the championship now. Right, we can afford this. Oh, what? Why are they... What's this? They require that, but they've negotiated it. I mean, that's fine. We'll still pay it. But I don't understand. Matondo himself will probably turn us down now. But fingers crossed, that means we can bring Matondo in. And if we can... So it's just down to him now if he wants to come back. If he agrees to come, that means we now have the entire team that we had last season, and we'll have like £4,000 a week of wage budget to try and strengthen it. And realistically, what I'm going to try and do with that, obviously Tom Heaton will be doing his loans, so he might bring us some stuff in on loan that's very good. But my priority is going to be Premier League youngsters who are maybe a year away from being championship quality players. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, that's a big problem. Okay, that was already accounted for. That's all right then. I panicked for a minute there. I thought my wage budget was going to be wiped out entirely. But yeah, I'm going to bring in youngsters who, really, I'm building a League One promotion team for next season. Rather than trying to... I'm not going to bring in championship quality players. We just can't afford them. 1st of July is nearly upon. Tom Heaton's at it again. He's really got a bee in a bonnet that we need a new old left back. What? Why? We've got Wearmouth coming in. Does he not know that Wearmouth is coming in, maybe? Maybe the game doesn't understand we've got Wearmouth re-signing permanently in a few days. But I don't know why he's constantly trying to sign old men left backs, presumably on lots of money. We'll scout him. We'll see what happens. I just can't imagine he's going to be better than Wearmouth and Palyk, who we've got there as very good options. I don't stop trying to sign permanent left backs, Tom, and focus on your remit, which is loans. We want good loan youngsters. We want more Matondos, not 28, 29-year-old lower league left backs. That's not the route to survival in the Championship, and it's not the route towards building a team that's going to come straight back up again when we get relegated. Me and Tom Heaton need to have a meeting. Oh, Matondo is in. That is spectacular news. I'm immediately going to try and get him for a further year as well. I don't know if he's got enough of a contract for us to be able to do that. He has. Let's immediately go for the extension. Oh, we can't. I don't know. Sometimes it lets you do that. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't really get don't really get why you can't always do it. But the fact that we've got him back permanently is a huge piece of business. Signing of the summer. It does mean that we are just about maxed out on wage budget now. I don't know if this takes into account the players who are going to be leaving in a few days. It probably already does because it's currently spending and committed spending. So we have very little left to spend. But we do have a decent looking squad now. I mean, we need an attacking midfielder because Morton and Lloyd are both going back. They're not good enough to make the step up, I don't think. Lloyd, we did try and extend his loan, but Leeds wanted too much money for him. We can't even afford to pay what they want us to pay for him. Midfield, we're good. Paul Perry still getting better. Shane Phillips, unbelievably, getting better all the time. I don't understand it. He just keeps getting better and better. He's one of the best players at the club again. It's mad. If only Mick Powell... Shane Phillips has done a Mick Powell. Swan's going to be leaving, so we probably need another striker. There you go. This is why he's constantly trying to sign left backs, because it looks like there's a big gap, but Wearmouth is filling that gap. Wright is filling the gap we've got there. Proctor and Sass Davis can be our backup. Gregson and Daly Campbell are good enough at right back. Humphreys is a good goalkeeper. Civitar's fine as backup. So really, what we need is an attacking midfielder, another striker, and then some lone youngsters, and then a bunch of really cheap kids. And that's our summer plan. So 1st of July has arrived, and this is what the team looks like after the comings and goings, the players that have been released, the loanees returning. It doesn't look too bad. So Humphreys and Civitar in goal, that's fine. Wearmouth and Palyk at left back, fine. Gregson, Daly Campbell, fine. Wright, Vujicic, Proctor, Sass Davis, that's fine as a 4. Phillips and McCormick, that's fine. Sawinski, Perry, Fernandez, I think that, and with McCormick and Phillips being able to deputise in there, I think that's fine. This is a problem. We don't have anyone who can play as an attacking midfielder. And then as strikers, Matondo, Harris and Powell, I think that's fine. So what we need is a starting attacking midfielder and then someone else who can play attacking midfield or up front. And then a load of youngsters. And I think we're fine. So let's see. Let's have a look to see what we've got as... Well, you can have a trial straight away. We want players who we've previously scouted who are currently available on free transfers. And we just want to get them all in on trial. All the green ones in on trial. It's only 10 of them. My word, Lewis Tyler's amongst them as well. So we'll get those in on trial. And then we're also going to see what my director of football can give us as free transfers on trial and just bring in a whole bunch of these. So I'm not gonna go through that. You know how this works. I'm not gonna go through the whole process of how we do this, but bringing in as many trialists as we can, and then seeing what we've got and seeing if we can fill the gaps in the squad with these trialists that are coming in, and then it's all over to Tom Heaton. Right, we have trialists in. A lot of them are very, very good. If only we had the money to bring in half a dozen of them, because we could build a proper good squad. We don't have the money. We've got $3,000, $5,000 to play with if we don't have signing on fees. Couple of highlights. I mean, he'd be a nice player to see in a home shirt. after his history here on the channel. But let's face it, that's not exactly an inspiring signing for a newly promoted Championship club, is it? But he's officially better than Anthony Harris. Oh, we do need an attacking midfielder. This has got to be priority number one. Baris Atik is a 32-year-old Turkish attacking midfield player who he's officially decent championship player. Never played in England though. Spent his entire career in Germany, but I mean, he's done all right in the German second division for a number of teams. My issue is he's quite old, but could be a real quality player. If we want to go for someone not quite so old, with a bit of potential, Tony Furlong is another option, who's, again, never played in England, but has been playing for St. Pat's for all that time. And then there's various other players who are pretty decent in lots of other positions, but I think we probably have to go for this guy and just see if he... I don't even know if it's realistic to give him the money he wants. See, look how much money he wants. Oh, we've got to say you can have that much and like it, and you also can't have that, and it will just go red immediately. There'll be no negotiation. Yeah, so we can't get him. So let's just bin him off. There's no point in him being here if we can't sign him. So how do we... Right, terminate that trial. So we move on to the next one in the list. Tony Furlong, who he's 6'4", a 6'4" attacking midfield player. I like it. Much better than what we've got. He's the one from St. Pat's, is he? So hopefully his wage demands are going to be a little bit more realistic. He'll come back to us. I think we probably need to try and sign him first, and then see if there's anyone. I mean, I'd like to bring in another defensive midfielder. That would be handy. Another centre-back would be lovely. A better goalkeeper would be lovely. Another striker, obviously. Martel Taylor-Crossdale would be lovely. But we can't afford them. Let's see what this guy... Hopefully he'll come straight back to us now, and we can have a look to see how much money he wants. Hopefully, not very much. Pre-season fitness report, blah, 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 blah. Welcome the squad back with passionate... we might well get relegated, but we're going to go down fighting. Absolutely. There you go. See, we've got the right attitude. Tom Heaton is also in the market for an attacking midfielder. That's interesting, because obviously this is a guy from the same team as Matondo, who played for Ipswich, played for the Ipswich team that won the League One title last year. So maybe we don't need to bring in an attacking midfielder ourselves, because this is like the Tom Heaton I know and love. None of this old man left back. Young man in exactly the positions we want, attacking midfielder and striker. He could be a perfect signing. We'll worry about that. Why are we not negotiating contracts with Furlong? I want to see how much money he wants. That's a reasonable contract request as well. Him and the guy from Stoke on loan. And I think we're looking good. So let's just take some of this stuff out. That's all fine. I don't mind him having a minimum release clause. If it keeps his weekly wage down, he might not be any good. If he turns out to be brilliant, we'll offer him a new contract. But hopefully we get him and the guy from Stoke. That gets us the two attacking midfielders we need. And then I do think we have genuinely upgraded the squad on last year. Because although we had Lloyd, he was only ever a 2-star player. So if we can bring in two good attacking midfielders and then still potentially have some squad gaps to maybe bring in some competition for Shane Phillips. Maybe bring in someone like Taylor Crossdale. In fact, shall we see how much he wants? Martel Taylor Crossdale, how much do you want, sir? Too much. You can have... and you're not going to... Let's see if we can force him down to super low. I mean, you can't have more than that. No, we can't bring him in. We'll come back to this once we've got the attacking midfielders. What we really need is a big money offer from one of our young players. But none of that seems to be happening this summer. We seem to have sold them all. Tony Furlong is in. We have our attacking midfielder. Still got potential as well. He is going to be a very, very important player for us. We are pretty much maxed out there if we bring the lad in on loan from Stoke as well, which hopefully we will. That's the wage budget gone. And... yeah, Yeah, the loanees have all left. The trialists, sorry, have all left. And it's an interesting looking squad. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll go down fighting. Nick Moss is in and looks awesome. Already a 4-star player with 5-star potential. No, not an inquiry. That's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to extend his loan for another year. Withdraw transfer offer. Yes. No, I give up. But he's in, which is good. We've also brought back Alex Carmichael because I just can't help myself. He was relatively cheap. Yes, he's not good enough to start for us, but there's far fewer midfielders in front of him now. Plus, he can play as an attacking midfielder. Plus, he can play as a striker. Now, yes, that's a silly loan, but he's one of our own. They all come home eventually, and I want to keep him here. I want to keep him close. There's a lot more trialists that are suddenly appearing on my scout reports, so we're going to bring another wave of trialists in. Not that we've got any money. We're going to have a look in a second at what the budget situation is now we've brought those two in, but I suggest it's pretty grim. I know people will be saying, Kev, release all those youngsters you've got knocking around. If we have a look at all the players we've released a lot of players. So they're the main players. We released a load of youth players as well. There are a lot of... We have probably the smallest squad we've ever had in the history of this football club. Let's stick a whole load more of that back towards wage budget. So we now have maybe £300 a week to play with. Tom Heaton, it is all over to you, sir. Well, we literally can't afford to bring in any more players. We've identified a striker that we want. He would be a cracking side in Nathaniel O'Callaghan. 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Was at Sutton last year in their run to the playoffs, 15 goals for them. He's a pressing forward, so would fit perfectly into our gegenpress system that we've been using. The only problem is, although he's accepted the contract we've offered involves a signing on fee, and as his wages already take us over the wage budget and we have no transfer budget at all, I wonder, can we take some of that scouting budget and make it wage budget? How do we do that? People have told me this is a thing. Oh, there you go. You do it here, don't you? So can we take that? We needed £26,000. Oh, this is... I feel like a total cheat now. That should be enough to let us bring O'Callaghan in and take us over the wage budget. And plus, Tom Heaton, once again, showing that he's probably the greatest director of football in the history of football, has found us a defensive midfielder from Manchester City. We've not even scouted him yet. I've just seen the fact his value, how much he's earning, and some of these numbers, and I want him. So he's hopefully going to be coming in on loan as well, costing us nothing at all. Just keep doing that, Tom. I'm going to be the one messing around ruining the budgets. You just keep bringing in the youngsters on loan, and we might just be able to assemble a team that can actually escape relegation. That's a big might. Just in case any of you were thinking I've been being too negative during this video, the media think we're absolute favourites to go down as well. Oh, it's going to be a hard season. We're trying to manipulate the system even further to bring in a defender now as well. We're gambling on trying to stay up. If we stay up, it's worth more money than this guy's salary would be. But Dylan Connor, 22 years old, good enough to come straight into our first team, potential to get even better. We're going to try and sneak him through as well. In fact, I want to take the rest of this. We don't need scouting budget, I don't think. We need transfer budget. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get the two players we're trying to bring in, the striker and the defender. But we're going to we're trying every trick that I can possibly think of. The one trick I won't try, that people have suggested, is loads of friendlies against Premier League teams to bring it. No, I think that manipulates the system a little bit too much when you do like 10 or 15 friendlies against big teams just for money, because you're just ruining your team. You wouldn't do it in real life. You can't do it in real life. In real life, you can manipulate your budgets and you can move money out of scouting and put it into transfers, and you can play around with that side of things. What you can't do is play 15 friendlies and expect people to turn up and pay money for them, and it breaks the realism a little bit for me. So I'm not going to do that. But every other trick I can think of, absolutely we're going to do. Philip Harrison is in, and he's good, and he's free. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, on loan from Manchester City until the end of the season. As good as Shane Phillips. Can also play central midfield and centre-back, which is handy to have that versatility in there. We won't hold previously playing for Cambridge against him, but he further strengthens the core of the team, really, which is very handy. We're getting there. Tom, let's have another one. 2 more would be nice before the window closes. No! He's been so... Tom, please stay. I don't normally ask directors of football to stay, but you've been so good. Oh, Tom, please. Oh, I need you to stay. Oh, Tom, no. He has made an offer for an Arsenal defender before he's gone. A permanent offer, weirdly. We can't afford him, but Tom seems to think we can. So hopefully he can bring that transfer through before he goes. I'm going to finalise that transfer before he goes. And, he wants me to negotiate a contract with him, does he? Thanks, Tom. You already signed off and gone to Southampton, have you? We had a good year with Tom Heaton, but it's very sad. Right, this guy's in. Young striker, potential, scored goals in League One last year. He's not expected to come straight into the first team, but does at least offer some competition. For Matondo, Harris, Powell, we now have 4 good strikers. Let's give him a squad number. We've got a defender in a similar mould coming in as well, and then I just don't know. I don't know. See, we can't give this guy any money. He doesn't actually want a lot of money. If Tom Heaton says he's good and he wants a £7 million release clause, that suggests he's probably a good player. Let's remove that clause. Let's try and push this down. I don't mind us going over the wage budget. I just don't care. There we go. So Jordan Stevens may well be coming in. I don't know if we can afford him, but... Well, I know we can't afford him, but I don't know if the game will let us bring him in. But if Tom Heaton says he's good... I don't normally go with the permanent transfers, but Tom Heaton has never let us down for transfers. So if this is his last one before he goes to Southampton, well, I guess if we're getting 50 grand for him, we can reinvest some of the Tom Heaton money in his final player. Cagey press conference. Yeah, because you know you're leaving. Is that why it's cagey, Tom? Yeah, brilliant. Right, I've never played around with this before. I always just leave it on the middle one. Does it have an impact? I hope it doesn't, because I just had a little play. So, transfer budget is currently 13.75 thousand. If we drop that, it becomes £425,000. If we drop it some more, I've got £500,000 to spend if we just pay lower bonuses. We're going to get relegated anyway. I think we do that. And all of a sudden, it's game on, boys and girls. We can't add any more to wage budget. I assume I'm going to regret that for some reason. And now the squad now all unhappy at low bonuses. That isn't even the squad. Where are the players? Anthony Harris, you'll tell me if you're unhappy about the low bonuses. You've always been good to me. No. Interesting. Well, all the extra money wasn't enough to convince Tom Heaton to stay. We've now got to find our 4th director of football in 3 years. Thanks, Tom. You definitely made a difference. But now we need to soldier on without him and see who we can find as a new director of football. In the meantime, I'm just scouting my face off because we've got all this money to spend all of a sudden. Well, our new director of football is in, Kostas Katsouranis, who's come in from McDonald's. I don't know how to judge a director of football, but he's been there for 5 years. He's previously been somewhere else as well. He's got a bit of experience. We'll see how he gets on. We'll see if he manages to bring someone in for us before the end of the transfer window. While I'm continuing to splurge my newfound money, Dylan Connor, who's someone who we identified from the trial list previously, comes in to offer some competition at the back, so we can now get rid of Sass Davis. We might also be bringing in that lad from Arsenal as well, in which case we could probably also get rid of Proctor. The fact is nobody wants these players, but Dylan Connor is in. He's got potential. Potential is good. and finance-wise, we're still pretty comfortable, which is awesome. We can't put any more towards wage budget again. I want to keep pouring money at wage budget, but it seems reluctant to let me do it for some reason. There you go. Yes, Costas is great. Hopefully he's going to bring in some players for me. I want a couple more loans. That's what I asked Tom for. A couple more are what's needed. Stevens went somewhere else, so we didn't get him. He was in the Arsenal side that won the Europa League 2 years ago. Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. He's got 2 Europa League winners' medals. Must have been sat on the bench, presumably. But he's not signed for us anyway, so he no longer matters. And now, can we adjust the budgets? Yeah, because there's no transfers in the offing now. So if we put that, so we've got a little bit of both. I don't think I'm going to make much in the way of further moves unless we get some youngsters appear. But I am still keen. For Costas to bring in a loan or two. I still think we could probably do with another goalkeeper. Humphreys is potentially looking like a weak link. Let's see what Costas comes up with. Well, Costas hasn't given us anything. That's taken us to the eve of the first game of the new season. We still have a week of transfer window left, and there's a couple of our youngsters who are going to be going out on loan on full wages, which is handy, so that's going to help the wage situation. But ultimately, at the moment, this is what our transfer window looked like. Polosky, the only player actually leaving for another club, although that doesn't tell the whole story, because lots of players were released, lots of youth players were released, so we did massively trim down the squad. Players coming in, Wearmouth and Wright making their loans permanent. Furlong as our new attacking midfielder, who became our new backup attacking midfielder when Nick Moss came in on loan from Stoke. We also got Matondo and Sawinski having their loans extended. Alex Carmichael has come back on loan for another year. Philip Harrison is a defensive midfielder who's coming on loan. And then we've got a backup striker and a backup defender in the shape of O'Callaghan and Connor, who've come in on free transfers. We still have, after some financial manipulation, a little bit of transfer budget and a little bit of wage budget and a week left. So expect more in the way of transfers in tomorrow's video, where you will see our first game in the Championship away against Sunderland, and this is what our Championship team looks like. Humphreys in goal, a back four of Wearmouth, Wright, Vujicic and Gregson, Harrison at the base of the midfield, McCormick and Sawinski in front of him, Moss then in behind Matondo and Harris. I think somehow we've managed to improve our team over the course of pre-season. I still think it probably won't be improved enough to avoid relegation, but we improved it, and that was more than I was expecting we were going to be able to do at the start of this video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.